Okay, ladies, thanks for joining me. So, I'm going to be talking about a channel right now and debunking and debating some thoughts on motherhood. So, the channel is Child Free Kimberly. I just came across this on accident. It just blew me away. It's about a channel dedicated to basically women who don't want kids. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. This is a thing. I think the lady personally, I have nothing against her. She seems like she is somebody who can communicate her feelings very well. So this is not personal. But we are in a battle of principalities, and we are to take every thought captive to Christ and what the truth is. And I know there's a lot of women out here who are not Christians, but I don't really think that matters, okay? Because when we, first of all, are Christians, we have more of a responsibility to people than people who are not Christians. Um, so basically, if we had a society without children, we would not be continuing to procreate a world that we live in. We, even for the unbeliever, we need to procreate and have people. So basically, I'm going to hit this with some examples from my life and some principles. So let me start with some principles. It's the older women who are to be teaching the younger women how to be mothers, to desire motherhood. This lady Kimberly is coming out and just saying, you know what, I just don't want kids. I don't want them. The world is a bad place. Why would you bring a kid into this kind of world? And I've heard that before in my family. Why would you bring kids into this world? This world is awful. That is really a mindset issue. It really is. But she said, even if this world was a utopia, even if everything was perfect, if she had all the help and had all the money she could have, she would still not want children. Now, I can respect that this is her thought process with children, but at the same time, I think we need to challenge these thoughts and look at what is being propaganded here. It's basically it's okay that you don't want kids. Is it okay? Is it okay if women do not want kids? Is it okay if they are just like, oh, I will enjoy the moment of having sex, but I don't want the kids? First of all, if you don't want kids, don't be having sex outside of marriage. Okay? If you don't want kids, don't be having sex at all. Just don't. Because most likely that will happen. We know birth control isn't 100%, but even if you are married and it's okay, it's 100%. Even if you don't, you have your tubes tied or whatever, that can be 100%. So you won't have kids. But should we? Let's look at the bottom line here. We are having a woman all across the world saying, I don't want to be a mother. I just don't. I have no desire for it. What is going on? Why are we not desiring children? Years ago, um, women felt worthless if they couldn't have kids, especially if you couldn't have boys. They felt worthless. So we have the feminist movement that I grew up with, and now we're seeing women just have no desire. So, what can we do about this? Can we change our desires? Absolutely. Should we be helping women to desire children? Yes. I don't think it's enough just to say, oh, I don't want them. I think to be fair, I think you would need to really get in there and discuss what motherhood means. What does it mean? Why would someone not want it? There is a women's forum out there, something like Women Who Don't Want Children, and motherhood is being defended, saying what's happening is women are saying, okay, the reason why you don't want motherhood is because you're thinking of it in the context of it's all work, it's not fun, there's sacrifices, there's a financial expand, so of course you don't want to be a mother. And this lady's saying, no, that's not it at all. It's not because of work, and it's not because of the finances I'm worried about, which I get that. I think that's true. I think there are women who are saying, no, I just don't want them. So how do we change the desire of a woman's heart? Do they even really know what motherhood is? I mean, honestly, this lady is criticizing the idea of societal norms, the idea of the rules, the feelings you should have. So, one example of this I'll use is back in the day when my family was starting to go to church. I had invited my brother to church and his wife Teresa, and they went to church with me over in Pennacook with a pastor named Charlie Lucchese. So they went to church with me, and they were having some issues. And my sister-in-law, former sister-in-law, was pregnant, and I said, "You want to." Before she was pregnant, I said, "You want to work things out." And so their daughter, Katie, came along because I encouraged her to try to work things out. And at the time she was pregnant, she hated it. She didn't really desire pregnancy. She hated the sickness and everything. And so as things went along, once that baby was born, they had a little girl. They were very thrilled. Same kind of thing with motherhood. When you're younger, you're not really desiring it as much as maybe other girls who have been brought up with, the dream of being happily ever married forever, happily married forever. You may not have been raised in that kind of environment. So I can see why some women would be like, I never had that as a girl. And I felt that too. Like I never had anyone say, one day you're going to have this prince. He's going to, just swipe you off your feet, one day you want to be a mother. So having no preparation really, other than Barbie, which I can't stand the new Barbie movie, and Raggedy Ann and Andy, and a baby does this and baby does that. If you don't train your girls to want kids, then you probably can expect they're not going to want them. Another thing that plays a huge part in this is once girls mature, like the forced abortion I talk about, more my mother's abortion than me. I was a kid. I wasn't very mature. I could have learned what I needed because no one's ever really ready. But that was not in the cards, so to say. But if I had learned, things would have been different. So it wasn't until later that I matured, and I did end up having women in my life who did teach me and mentor me, which was a huge change in my life. So we know we can change anything, right? A lot of times, just doing something that you should be doing, your desire will change. So, so I had a lady who had 5 kids, and I saw this lady in church who homeschooled and had 5 kids. Her name was Connie, and she took me alongside of her, and I would talk to her about God. We would walk everywhere, not everywhere, but we would walk and walk and walk. And I had my kids in the stroller, and I would ask her about God and all these questions. And I worked at it. So we talked. And then she had classes, how to teach your kids obedience, how to teach your kids to be respectful, how to teach, your kids to share. And I was just like, you can actually teach kids this? Because for me, I grew up in kind of a chaotic environment. There was always either an uncle in jail, or somebody's marriage broke up or something. So to be an intentional parent was really different for me. And then as I grew into the amazing learning of how children are developed, and the amazing miracle of children, my heart changed some more. Some people will say, oh, we're expected to feel like this is the most wonderful, grandest thing that could happen to us. And not that you're finding all your satisfaction in being a mother, because our true satisfaction is in Christ, but it should be a very amazing thing to you to be a mother. You're raising a child that has never been born before on this earth. There'll never be one like him again or her. So it's an extremely important job. So my response, or uh, I guess challenge for a lot of women who are listening to people say, if you don't want kids, you don't want kids, and you just, nothing you say is going to change my mind. My challenge for women is to dig into motherhood, to work at it. I did not come from a place where, I don't think my grandmother really enjoyed motherhood. I think she well, obviously she was born in a time there wasn't birth control until later, so it was expected that when you are married, you're going to have kids. Um, and then the feminist movement came along, and my mother later had her tubes tied after me and my brother because she did not want more. I don't think it was the most enjoyable thing at the time for her to have kids. And then I truly enjoyed having my kids. I loved being pregnant and I loved having them. So it takes a lot of work to change your mindset. And I think, as I had mentors in my life, it truly is the older women who are teaching the younger woman correct, you know, thinking about being a mother and how valuable it is. You don't want to throw that away. A lot of people will say, well, once you get older, you're going to have regret. And I think that is true, because like now I'm in a stage in my life where I can look back and say, good job. You had your children, you had your family. If I was to start now, I can't have children, pretty soon. Pretty soon I won't be able to have children. Um, there's no way now, where I'm at now, I would be able to have five and be able to homeschool and be able to do everything I did. So there is only a certain amount of time that you can have kids. And why would you squander that? Why would you? I mean, you've already done a lot of things on your own growing up. And then when you're older, you have plenty of time to do what you want. So my advice, big picture, don't listen to this stuff, okay? Get good doctrine, get the right thinking, and change the desires of your heart. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys.